institutional factors. Okay. As you know, like English language teaching programs are, they take place in a specific setting or specific context, right? So the setting or the site in itself involves different variables. So these variables, we're going to look at these variables in the topic of institutional factors, right? I think it's important to understand what institutional factors are there, right? For example, every institution has its own specific culture. I mean, for example, the academics speak a specific language. I mean, there is a way to talking to the students, and the students themselves talk to the teachers in a specific language. But on the other hand, if the students are talking to their friends, they might be using a different language. So what I mean to say, the whole point is that an institute forms a specific culture of language, of behavior, right? So I think it's important to understand some of the institutional policies involved in institutional factors. And institutional factors is one of the important element of situation analysis, right? Okay. In order to understand the institutional factors, what we need to first understand is the position of the target language, how English is viewed actually. For example, in our religious seminaries or madrasas, some of the students may not accept English because of its colonial because it's considered to be a colonial legacy. So there is a sort of sensitivity attached to this element, right? And I think Asma got very precise point of view that we need to understand the attitudes towards target language in post-colonial societies. So specifically in the Pakistani context, when we're going to introduce a new course, we need to take into account some of the socio-political elements of the place of the target language in a particular institute, right? Okay. And there is a sort of human element to attached to institutional factors. What's the human aspect then? Okay. As many of you know, like an institute is a place where different stakeholders are involved, and we've got a group of teachers, we've got group of learners, and we've got administration. So every specific group got its own specific interests, right? Language learners might be coming to an institute for general English development programs. Some of the specific students might be joining an institute for English for academic purposes, and some might be for English for specific purposes, right? So this is how human aspect can have both positive and it can have a sort of climate overall, and we need to understand both the positive and the negative elements attached to institutional factors, right? So obviously institutions are sort of dynamic places where the interests keep changing, and we need to understand whether the teachers are trained enough to use the textbooks, or whether they can produce their own materials, and how well they are professionally or pedagogically equipped with key methodologies to teach language to their learners, right? Some of the teachers might be working for financial gains. So some of the teachers might be working for professional gains. So this is how we need to understand some of the key elements attached to institutional factors, right? And there is, apart from a human, there is a physical element attached to institutional factors. And I think we need to understand the element of resources, whether there is the teachers, the language teachers have access to information communication technology or not. And who is choosing the textbooks for teachers? Whether they are allowed to bring in some flexibility or bring in some change in the already prescribed textbooks or not. And I think this is important to understand when we come to know about the institutional factors, okay, and what administration support is there for language teachers, whether the administration is flexible in terms of allowing teachers to produce their own materials to meet the changing needs of language learners, right? So, and these things can impact upon the overall, image of an institute, right? So, we need to understand these factors when we are talking about, the institutional factors. And I think we've got a very good example of institutional factors and how important the institutional factors can be for situation analysis. So we've got, like, for example, a language institute appoints a new director. And the job of the new director is to, design language courses to compete the market. What happens? The director revamps the courses, changes everything, and new courses are brought in. But what actually happened that the teachers were not ready to accept the change because they were not taken into confidence. So they sort of developed resistance to the new courses. So overall, what I mean to say is institutional factors are very important to understand while doing situation analysis, and we need to understand their role, and we need to understand their centrality in terms of conducting a successful situation analysis.